So this is a technical video to introduce you to Rhett the Clydesdale rig, and this is a rig which is available free at creativecrash.com. And so you can find him here. Here it is. Here's the latest release, Rhett the Clydesdale 3.3.1. Now, this is not a perfect rig, but it is a very nice rig, and it's one of the best realistic quadrupeds that I've found. There are some other. There's also some nice examples of Rhett being used in various student films here. And various demo reels. So be sure to take a look at some of these and check it out. Anyway, I don't say that you have to use this rig. If you've got another horse rig that you'd rather use, then go for it. There are many good animal rigs available. There's a nice Great Dane also at Creative Crash. The only problem with the Great Dane is that it's slightly cartoony in its style. Here it is here, Great Dane quadruped Dane rig, and it's a very nice rig, but it is a little cartoony. So if you're looking to do realistic creature work, I'd recommend either Rhett or a similar rig. But if you're interested in doing more cartoony stuff, then by all means have a crack at the Great Dane, which is a really good rig. Okay, so here let's show a bit about Rhett. As you can see, he comes in a low resolution version. You can click on this little cross here and then go to display options medium, and you'll get the topography fully joined up. Now, basically, the rig works much as you'd expect it to. I'm just going to turn off select surface object so I can't select his geometry. And basically, it's, you can move around these IK feet much as you would expect. So, and then we have these ones down here, and you can also rotate them as well. And it works in a pretty straightforward manner, frankly. Here's the world control. This is what you use to move your horse into place and then forget about. Here are your pole vectors to control the knees. And you've also got pole vectors here on these legs as well. To move the backside up and down, you've got these legs. You be very careful. This rig will break. It will give you nice realistic horse locomotion, but if you take it too far, you'll get some very strange results. But you see, you can easily break it. You can easily get into shapes which are quite unattractive. Here's the moving the withers. Again, this is a very common error with this rig. You can have, when you have the horse's hoof in mid-air, you can have this kind of a shape where the front leg is bent, but this shape here is an absolute no-no. This is a pantomime horse. You will never see a horse in real life do this, but it is quite easy for this to happen when you're animating with this rig, and that is one of your big challenges, is going to be trying to avoid that from happening. It's also because there isn't a control on the knee. There isn't a specific knee control, although there's the offset here, but you can't actually control the knee. It's quite easy to get clicking in these legs. There's a very useful little control here called compress fetlock, which helps you to adjust this leg here. So if you get into trouble with the front leg sort of popping, try using the compress fetlock control. That is a good and useful control. Okay, so we can also animate. There's a facial control here where we can animate his eyes. We can make his jaw open and close. Remember, horses have to breathe when they walk, when they trot, and when they run. So don't give them a closed mouth. You can also animate his nostrils. So there's a nostril flare, which you can use for inhales and exhales. And when he breathes in, you can flare the nostrils, and so on. I don't know what that's going to be useful for. And then here on the ears, you can bend them back and forth as well. So don't forget, as his head goes backwards and forwards, his ears will bend. And this control here allows you to also control this front leg to some degree. Watch out that you don't end up with too much animation on this control, and this control, because they all to some degree do the same thing. So start off by animating the leg from down here, and be very careful how much you use these two, because you can easily have these two controls, this one and this one, counter animating each other and producing nasty results. So you want to be very careful there. Here's a control you probably won't use very much, but maybe a little bit. And this one here, this is sort of your global control, your world control. That's basically your body control, center of gravity, cog, which doesn't control the legs. So I'm going to go ahead and create a shelf editor. Actually, I'll just go ahead and create a new shelf, and I'm going to call that Rhett. And I will save the main controls. So let's start off with the center of gravity. So that's the cog, as it were. What else have we got here? There's also head control. That's the main head control. That's an important one. Or lower neck, I guess. Shelf editor. Okay, so let's call that cog. We might as well do that neck. And we're going to be animating these feet a lot. So let's start with the front right foot. Now, what are we going to name this? FR hoof. How about that? Front right hoof. Okay. And then the left one, let's call that, we'll call that front left hoof. FL hoof. And then, oh no, let's do the right one first. Rear let's do rear right hoof. And then select this one. I always do this whenever I start animating a new character. The first thing I will do is create tabs. Rear left hoof. My rears and my rights are going to get mixed up here. Oh well, never mind. Let's call that the bum. Not very technical, but let's call that bum. And let's call that the withers, which I think is the technical term. Withers, there we go. Can we fit all of that in? Withers, yeah, there we go. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to leave that for now. And then the next thing I'm going to do is actually, I think that's as far as we need to get for the rig introduction. We might just create a control for the head as well. Yeah, so we'll do select the head and pull that into. And then in the tutorial video, we'll import a set and create a setting, maybe a farm or something along those lines. Okay, so that's a general introduction. The main thing you're going to worry about is this leg clicking. So be super careful of the keys you've set on these controls, and remember the compress fetlock control in the hoof.